You probably think Saudi Arabia is just a giant sandbox with a few oil wells and some very tall buttons, but you are about to find out how wrong that actually is. Most people have no idea that you can find snow-capped mountains, ancient cities carved into rock, and some of the clearest blue water on the planet, all within this one country. For a long time, this part of the world was like a locked box. Nobody really knew what was inside because it was so hard to visit. But now, the doors are wide open, and the world is finally seeing that Saudi Arabia is one of the most diverse places you can ever explore. We are talking about thousands of years of history clashing with futuristic cities that look like they belong in a movie from the year 3000. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 20 absolute must-do experiences that will completely change how you look at the Middle East. Plus, I'll give you the inside scoop on how to actually plan and book everything so you don't end up lost in the desert. Let's start with the history, because you can't understand where this country is going until you see where it started. Number 1 on almost everyone's list has to be Hegra, also known as Nabataean Salih, located in Al-Ula. If you've ever seen photos of Petra in Jordan, this is going to look familiar, but there's a big difference. At Petra, you're fighting through thousands of tourists. At Hegra, you often have these massive 2,000-year-old tombs all to yourself. These were built by the Nabataeans, and they carved these intricate doorways right into the side of giant boulders in the middle of the desert. There are over 100 of these tombs, and the detail is so sharp it looks like they were finished yesterday. You can still see the chisel marks. It's a silent, powerful place that makes you feel very small. Once you've had your fill of the ancient desert, you need to head to the coast to visit Al-Balad in Old Jeddah. This is the historic heart of the city, and it feels like stepping back 200 years. The buildings here are made of coral stone from the Red Sea, and they have these beautiful dark wooden balconies called roshan. Walking through the narrow alleys, you'll smell roasting coffee, heavy incense, and frying spices. It's loud, it's busy. It's the gateway where pilgrims have arrived for centuries on their way to Makkah. It is one of those places where you just want to put your phone away and get lost in the maze of the souks. Speaking of history, you can't miss at Taraif in Diriyah. This is right on the edge of the capital city, Riyadh. This place is special because it's the ancestral home of the Saudi royal family. It's built entirely out of mud brick in a style called Najdi architecture. A few years ago, it was mostly ruins, but they've restored it into this world-class site. When the sun starts to set and the lights come on, the golden mud walls glow. It's the perfect place to learn about how people lived in the harsh desert environment before the era of skyscrapers and air conditioning. Now, for something completely different, let's talk about the Maraya Concert Hall in AlUla. This is the world's largest mirrored building. Imagine a giant silver cube sitting in the middle of a red rock canyon. Because it's covered in mirrors, the building literally disappears. It reflects the mountains and the sand around it, making it look like a mirage. It's a mind-blowing piece of modern art that proves Saudi isn't just about the past, it's about the future too. If you like modern architecture, you also have to check out the King Abdulaziz Center for World Culture, or ITHRA, in Dhahran. It looks like a pile of giant smooth river pebbles stacked on top of each other. Inside, it's a massive hub for art, science, and history. There's a library with 500,000 books, a theater, and high-tech museums. It's the kind of place that makes you realize how much the country is investing in creativity and young people. Way down south in the mountains, you'll find Rijal Al-Ma. People call it the gingerbread village. The buildings are made of dark stone and white quartz, making them look like they're decorated with frosting. This village is over 900 years old and sits in the middle of the lush green Asir region. Yes, I said green. It rains here and it gets cold. The people here, known as the flower men, traditionally wear crowns of fresh flowers and herbs in their hair. It's a side of Saudi culture that surprises almost every traveler. Back in Jeddah, you should take a walk along the Corniche to see the floating mosque, officially called Fatima al-Zahra. It's built on stilts right over the Red Sea. When the tide comes in, it looks like the whole white marble structure is drifting on the water. It's especially beautiful at sunrise or sunset when the prayer call echoes over the waves. It's a very peaceful spot. While we are talking about spiritual sites, we have to mention Medina and the Prophet's Mosque. For a long time, non-Muslims couldn't visit the city at all, but things have changed. While only Muslims can enter the actual mosque building, anyone can visit the city and see the exterior of this massive structure. The scale of the courtyard with its giant automated umbrellas is something you have to see to believe. The atmosphere in Medina is much calmer and more reflective than the hustle of Riyadh or Jeddah. Back in the desert of Al-Ula, make sure you find Elephant Rock or Jabal al-Fil. It's exactly what it sounds like. A massive natural rock formation that looks like an elephant with its trunk touching the ground. During the day, it's cool, but at night they set up sunken seating areas with fire pits and cafes. Sitting under the stars with a hot coffee next to a giant stone elephant is a core memory kind of experience. Before you leave the city, stop by Souk Al-Zal in Riyadh. This is the oldest market in the capital. If you want to buy a real hand-woven carpet, some high-quality oud perfume, or an antique dagger, this is the spot. It smells like history. It's a bit chaotic, but the sellers are usually very friendly and will offer you dates and Arabic coffee. It's the best place to feel the traditional heartbeat of Riyadh. Now, let's get into the nature and adventure stuff, because this is where the country really shows off. Number 11 is the edge of the world, or Jebel Firain. About 90 minutes outside of Riyadh, the ground just stops. You're standing on 300-meter-high cliffs looking out over a vast plain that used to be an ocean bed millions of years ago. There's no fence, no safety rail, just you and a massive drop. It's one of the most dramatic views you will ever see. If you prefer water over heights, the Red Sea is a paradise for diving and snorkeling. Specifically, places like Umluj and Yanbu have coral reefs that are almost completely untouched. While the reefs in other parts of the world are struggling, these are vibrant and full of life. The water is so clear it's like looking through glass. You can see shipwrecks, sea turtles, and thousands of colorful fish. They call it the Maldives of Saudi Arabia. After a day in the water, stay out for some stargazing. Because the desert is so empty, there's zero light pollution. If you go on a luxury camping trip or glamping, you can see the Milky Way with your naked eye. It looks like a bright cloud stretching across the sky. The silence of the desert at night is something you don't get in our modern world. For the hikers out there, Wadi al-Disa is a dream. It's a massive valley in the Tabuk province filled with giant sandstone columns. In the middle of this dry desert, there's a stream of water creating a forest of palm trees and tall grass. It feels like a hidden oasis from an adventure movie. You can hike for miles or take a 4x4 through the canyon. If you want to get even further off the path, take a ferry to the Farasin Islands. This is a protected marine sanctuary. It's famous for its mangroves and rare birds. Once a year, they have a massive festival to celebrate the arrival of parrotfish. It's a very traditional island life out there, with old forts and quiet beaches that feel a world away from the big cities. For a bit of a challenge, try climbing the Al-Waba crater. This is a massive volcanic crater in the middle of a salt plain. It looks like a giant hole punched into the earth, and at the bottom there's a white salt crust that looks like water. You can hike down to the bottom, but be warned, it's much harder coming back up. It's an alien-looking landscape. You can hike down to the bottom, but be warned, it's much harder coming back up. It's an alien-looking landscape. If you visit during the spring, you have to go to Taif to see the rose fields. Taif is known as the City of Roses. They grow millions of small, incredibly fragrant pink roses here. They use them to make expensive rose oil and perfumes. Walking through the fields when the flowers are blooming is an incredible sensory experience. If you're a real adrenaline junkie, you need to head to the Empty Quarter or Rub Al Khali. This is the largest continuous sand desert on Earth. It's brutal, it's huge, and it's beautiful. Dune bashing here in a 4x4 is like being on a roller coaster that never ends. The dunes can be hundreds of feet high. Back in Riyadh, if you want a view without the 4x4, go to the Kingdom Center Sky Bridge. It's that building that looks like a giant bottle opener. The bridge is on the 99th floor and connects the two arms of the building. From up there, you can see the entire city of Riyadh stretching out into the desert. At night, it's a spectacular sight. Finally, to wrap up your trip, head to King Abdullah Economic City, or KAEC. This is a brand new modern city on the coast. There are luxury beach clubs, great restaurants, and it's very walkable. It's the perfect place to just chill out by the water. Now I know what you're thinking. This all sounds great, but how do you actually do it? Saudi Arabia is a massive country, and it can be a bit overwhelming to plan a trip there if you've never been. That brings us to the biggest challenge, the logistics. You can't just show up and wing it like you might in Europe. Distances are huge, and some of the best spots are deep in the desert. First, let's talk about where to stay. You can find everything from ultra-luxury resorts to very affordable boutique hotels. The key is booking in advance, especially in places like AlUla, where space is limited. If you're looking for the best deals on hotels and accommodation, you really need to check the resources we've put together. Flights are the next big thing. You'll likely fly into Riyadh or Jeddah, but to get to AlUla or Tabuk, you'll need domestic flights. Planning your flight routes early will save you a lot of stress. When it comes to the actual sites, some places require permits or organized tours. Booking professional guides for historical sites and desert excursions is the best way to make sure you see what you came for. One thing people often forget is staying connected. You're going to need GPS and Google Maps constantly. Getting a travel eSIM is the easiest way to have data the second you land without hunting for a shop. And please do not skip travel insurance. Between dune bashing and hiking, there's a lot of room for things to go sideways. Getting around within the cities is pretty easy with apps like Uber or Careem. Arranging a private transfer or using VIP airport services can make your arrival so much smoother. For longer distances, the Haramain high-speed railway is a game changer. It connects Medina, Jeddah, and Makkah. It's clean, fast, and much better than driving. For other towns, there's an extensive bus network called SAPCO. If you like your independence, you can rent a car. The roads in Saudi are actually very good. In places like AlUla, having your own car is a great way to see the sights on your own schedule. If you want the most stress-free experience possible, look into Red Sea cruises or all-inclusive package tours. Saudi Arabia is changing faster than almost any other country on Earth. It is a place of deep tradition, but also incredible ambition. Whether you're standing on the edge of the world or walking through a 2,000-year-old tomb, you're going to see something that stays with you forever. Check the links in the description for the best travel deals and resources to start planning your Saudi adventure today.